What's up, y'all? It's me, Tasha C, and welcome to the Tasha C Show podcast. Shout out to my YouTube and podcast fam. Hugs and loves for all the support, whether you listen to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or more shows than that. But also, if you're part of my podcast fam, or you're about to be, part of like what you're listening to, don't forget to follow wherever you're listening wherever you're listening to my podcast. And vice versa for the YouTube people. But don't also be part of my podcast. Are about to be go and type, and you wonder about this YouTube channel. Go ahead and type tashactv in YouTube search. Don't forget the TV, because if you don't put it in there, I'm not going to pop up with my pink braids and my profile pic as far as what I have right now. And vice versa for YouTube. If you like what you're seeing and or listening to, if you're not already part of my YouTube family, go ahead and, besides subscribe with notifications, if you're part of that, and you look in my description, the look in the description of YouTube, under the YouTube video, and see where I put my podcast at. Now, this is a part of my bonus podcast, which originally I haven't done right now. I've done mostly just podcasts on different topics, or sometimes story times, of course rants as always. But also I had made a bonus one. This is for new people. This originally it was supposed to be for Black History Month, and I decided to go further, and as long as I can and feel like it, to continue on to do a Black History podcast, where I just talk about Black history, facts. It's not as quote quote entertaining, but it's for everything from censored African American books to movies to what's going on and so forth. And this is one day 151 of my video journey, 366-day video journey, which I started last year, October the 8th, and plan on ending October the 8th of this year, which is, like I said, has nothing to do with this podcast. But other than that, let's get on to starting things. And also, you may hear in the background, I have both my nephew, little Kenny, who, like I said, if y'all listen to previous podcast videos and some of my other videos, that I, sometimes mention, there might be a chance you may hear him in the background. I'm also dog sitting my great furry nephew as well, Colonel. So even though he's laying down to sleep, if he does hear some darn cats in the background, you might possibly hear some barking, and you might hear landlines. I'm just letting y'all know, phone ring in advance, just in case, But to start off with, like I said, this may not be a long one today. If y'all listen to my voice, I'm not as hoarse as I was. But, I wanted to first, I hate to say some sad news, but I wanted to first go to Instagram. I may do, just only Instagram today. Now, originally, they were saying yesterday that, 4 hours ago, prior before this happened, they were originally saying as if they were going to allow or delay this execution of this man that was proven innocent. And the next minute, they unfortunately, God rest his soul and prayers for his family, still end up executing him last night anyway. Here I'm taking from an Innocent Project page, for example, to talk about it. Here's what they said. Last night, the state of Alabama executed Nate Woods, also Nathaniel Woods. Nate spent 15 years on death row, accused of killing 3 police officers, even though the man who admitted to the crime said he acted alone. Many question his culpability and whether or not Nate was adequately represented at his trial, leading hundreds of thousands of people to advocate for his life to be spared, including the sister of one of the officers he was accused of killing. Hours before he was scheduled to be executed, the Supreme Court temporarily stayed his execution before allowing to proceed shortly after. This is so sad. Nate chose not to make a final statement. Instead, he gave his sister a poem he wrote and asked that it will be shared with the world. His poem, The Man He Killed, at the link bio. That is so sad. Still progress, but a long way to go. This also, they have this heifer here is Mickey Howard's Mickey that, and this heifer, I got, like I said, I have a child in the room with me, so I ain't about to say. This heifer was the governor that didn't save Naples, the Halloween, Alabama Governor K. Krusty Ivory apologized for wearing blackface. It's just they had a picture of it, but it's really, really, really a mess with that. Even with all this information to prove this man was innocent, they, whew. As Sean Key says, a Big Boys account from the legendary group, Outkast, and it was done on the project since then. But he has reposted from Sean King. It is done. The state of Alabama just executed an innocent man. Nate Woods is dead. We are crushed, and Nate Woods experienced a grisly injustice and crushed for his family. This is modern day lynches. He broke no laws at all. Never fired a gun and surrendered. Just, ugh. And let me just read some more stuff. I'm sorry, y'all, where I had to say that or say something sad, but that's the real reality. You know, not everything in Black history is a beautiful moment. Okay, now I'm also still on Instagram and on We Push Black, and here history. Okay, let me read this, and then I'm gonna look at the slides. History books won't teach you about one of the most important cases in American history. That's because Dred Scott versus Sefton proved how insidious the criminal justice system is to us, and how far freedom we really are. Okay, swipe to live. How the decision decided on this day, 1857, to set the stage for Black America's future. Okay. Enslaved to a traveling army surgeon, Dred Scott became a free man as soon as he set foot in the free states of Illinois and Wisconsin. It was the death of his master that moved Scott to legally pursue his and his wife's freedom. After having his case heard by 3 courts, it finally landed in the Supreme Court. While anti-slavery justice in Washington argued for Scott's freedom under the Missouri Compromise, the final, most indigenous and racist opinion came from Chief Justice Roger B. Taney. According to Taney, enslaved Black people could not be citizens of the United States. In fact, no Black person could, free men, be damned. Without citizenship, he ruled, a case brought to the federal court by a Negro didn't matter. Black people weren't people. The final ruling was 7-2. Scott's freedom was legally denied. The decision against Scott remains so relevant today because it reflects an ongoing attitude persuasive in American criminal justice system. We're still considered subhuman in the eyes of the law, still hunted, thrown in cages, and denied freedom via the prison industrial complex, still subject to redlining and other racist housing policies, still blatantly killed for the color of our skin. Every day we're shown in this picture some innocent people, that have been affected, who've been killed by justice every day, including, for example, I have no words. Every day we're shown that our lives don't matter. Every day America goes out its way to uphold the Dred Scott versus Sanford decision. And that's true. Even down, y'all, when I had did my paper, y'all, studying, my topic choice, it was an environmental class. But it also talked about the book, and what I chose to talk about was environmental racism. And that could, that also says how it's so much things like how lead is in certain areas, and how you have these plants with these chemicals, and how they're in these certain areas that are considered low income, and 9 times out of 10 are usually Black and brown people, and there's so much to say there. Okay, civilrights.org. Okay, this is just a quick one, but I feel it's important. 55 years ago, our forefathers and foremothers walked across the Independence Bridge for the right to vote, no matter the cost. Meet Rosa Nelton. She was a foot soldier who crossed the Independence Bridge in Selma 55 years ago for the right to vote. Because of activists like her, we have the Voting Rights Act. Today, she's still active for voting rights because Rosa knows that your power comes from your vote. That's why some decision makers don't want you to have it, but we're voting anyway. That's darn right. Like I said, y'all, if y'all can, I don't know. You know what? Since I'm on here and I'm looking, let's see, can you register to vote online if you're able to? Okay, I just want to be able to. Okay. Register to vote. Okay, now they have vote.org. And they say register for, so vote.org, okay, it's vote.org, and it should take you 2 minutes, and what information they will ask. I mean, they used to do the cards, whatever, y'all, but I'm just letting y'all know why vote, okay? I'm just telling you information like first name, last name, street address, of course, part number, city name, zip code, date of birth, of course, you have to be 10 years old, email address, that's the Aztec there. That's optional if you have the thing. And once say like you voted, you just go from there. I have voted, for extra credit for class, but I registered. And once you're registered, you will put like, I forgot, but just take it from there, because there's also sites like in your county you can find out where you're registered to vote at. And I think the site, but I'm just saying, to make it more convenient, if you have a way to like register to vote just on, online now, just to let it be known. Okay. On Virginia's, I said Virginia, I'm about to go to the thing. On theshameroom.com, of course, they don't give you all the information, but they give you enough that we're going to work with. Virginia rules hair discrimination officially illegal, becoming the fourth state to do so. Like I said, we still got a long way to go, y'all. Okay, the conversation surrounding women of color and their hair has grown considerably within the last few years, as many have fought back publicly by those who attempted to shame or discriminate against how they choose to wear their hair. Following the lead of other states, Virginia officially ruled that hair discrimination is illegal, and is now the fourth state to enact the law. At Essence reports, late last month, House Bill 850 was rejected by the House Judiciary Committee, making natural hair discrimination an act that isn't punishable by law in the state of West Virginia. And the initial 8-4 vote wasn't enough to push the House Bill 844 forward, but activists of the Crown Act persisted and made significant progress. On March the 4th, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam signed the House Bill 1514 to legislation, which officially makes Virginia the fourth state in the country, behind California, New York, and New Jersey. And it says, click to read the Bible, Lord. And it's sad that we're still dealing with this, but like I said, it's still a long way to go. It's progress, but still a long way to go. Ooh, okay. I was trying to scan. I'll just get into that later on. Here real quick, a promise in just I'm gonna pronounce these some of these people's names. I'm terrible with pronunciation. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. Okay. Positive images. This is still a shame. These 5 Nigerian sisters are all doctors. That is awesome. It's not every day that we hear about multiple sisters becoming doctors, but that's exactly what happened in the Idu family. According to Afrotech, the Nigerian family has 5 daughters, and all of them are physicians. Among is the first female neurosurgeon in West Africa, a plastic surgeon, a family physician, a obstetrician, and a community health physician. The Nigerian family consists of Salama Adu, the first female neurosurgeon in West Africa, Hamila Adu, a plastic surgeon, Khadija Adu, a family medicine physician, Rada Adu, a obstetrician, I know I'm pronouncing, and Madina Adu, a community health physician. That is dope. That's beautiful, because this is also Women's History Month as well. So, trying to get to there. Also, on Lauren Lake's site, this is just good, but it's dope. Barbie, This is one day ago. They don't have the official actual dates on Instagram. Barbie debuts robot parts as a part of honoring iconic women. That's dope as well. Okay. Sorry, I'm pausing, y'all. This is sad news, but I did want to say this. Happy Blood Westworld Queen. This is some Black Excellence Tube. And if y'all remember the actress, okay, March 6, 1964, comedian actress Annie Yvette Wilson was born. And God rest her soul. Several years ago, she had died from illness. I think I don't know exactly which cancer, but she had passed away. But God rest her soul. So, also today, I think it was yesterday, happy anniversary for Bonnie Blue and Lyric. I know she's a YouTuber and so forth. But yeah, happy birthday to. I was saying happy birthday. I meant to say happy anniversary for them. Okay, also 2 days ago, God rest her soul, would have been the birthday of Barbie Christina Brown. She would have turned 27 years old, and it's just sad. And so what we're gonna do is go to the website. Let me just spin this. Okay, down here. I should go to the other site that I recently ran into, so just give me a second. Okay, I already got this site. Black women celebrating during, okay. Okay, LDS celebrates Women History Month. Okay, I found another site to go there. Okay, I don't think I talked about this particular site. It's Defend Educate Power. Okay, Constance Baker Motley, one of 12 daughters and a daughter immigrants, Constance Motley rose to become the first black woman to ever argue a case before the U.S. Supreme Court. Civil rights movement success was a result of the strength and sacrifice of thousands of women. In big roles and small, the victories of the movement belong to them as well. And this volunteer, including many women who accomplished that are essential work today. After working LDF founder Thurgood Marshall, Marley became LDF's first female attorney and wrote the original complaint in the landmark in Brown versus Board Education. Devoted to the cause of equal justice, Marley faced the danger of work head-on, driving through Ku Klux Klan territory to defend the right of black students to attend the University of Georgia, to spending hours in county jails or across the Deep South helping to secure the release of detained civil rights activists like Martin Luther King Jr. Okay, I'm trying to see that I go through these again, but it's nothing wrong, say, if I... because not everybody, what I meant to say, it's nothing wrong, say, if I repeat a couple of these again. Okay, y'all, this is blackpast.org. They're going to do one of those, and then I'm going to call it a night. Okay, people. Global African history. We'll go and have another one there. Okay. Lucy Bronner, modern day Talo, 1920 to 2000. South Africa career trade unionist Lucy Bolifield Mobile was a leading figure in the movement to improve conditions for workers in South Africa. Okay, I gotta read more, so I gotta... Okay. So workers are improved conditions of work for workers in South Africa. Although she saw that the campaign was separate from the anti-apartheid movement. Lucy Murad was born in January 1920 in Spruitsbron, Johannesburg, to Swati parents. Her mother, a domestic worker, and her father, a laborer. At age 18, she married Mackenzie Mabu, with whom she had 2 children. She entered the clothing industry as a dressmaker in 1941, and 5 years later was elected to the executive committee of the Garment Workers Union, also known as GWU. While 1953 apartheid legislation excluded blacks, Marvel formed a parallel union, the Garments Workers Union of Africa Women, UAW. Elected to the National Executive of the almost exclusively black South American Congress of Trade Unions, SACTU, in 1955, she grew more easily with its increasingly close ties to the African National Congress, ANC. Reluctant to link the anti-apartheid struggle to economic gains for workers, Mabu and GUUAW left SACTU in 1958 and joined the Federation of Free Trade Unions of South Africa, FOFAT-USTA. There, she became the first black official to represent South Africa at an International Labour's Conference in Geneva in 1959. From 1962 to 1986, she was General Secretary of the National Union of Clothing Workers, NUCU. While leading the NCCU, Merva attained higher wages for clothing workers in 1965. In 1970, she campaigned for equal union rights, the recognition of all workers, including homeland residents and migrant workers, and better wages. Merva called for U.S. companies to invest in creating jobs and to bring vocational skills development programs to South Africa. She toured U.S. in 1975 with Marcel Business and again in 1979. This time sponsored by the Pro-Apartheid South African Foundation. During this tour, she urged his business not to impose economic limitations, which she felt hurt black workers most. In 1979, when the South African government allowed equal status for black unions, Mabel pointed out that the new policy sustainably excluded thousands of black homeland residents and migrant workers. Because of the controversial stance, by 1984, Marvel was branded a governor collaborator by the NAC and other anti-apartheid activists, and her summer home was bombed. Wow. During the 4 decades in trade unionism, Mabu achieved considerable gains in wages and benefits within the clothing industry. Despite her controversial legacy because of her refusal to bring politics into the economic sphere, Mabu opposed apartheid in her own practical way. She led the campaign for a living wage, better skilled jobs, dignity, and homes for a vast majority of South America's black residents. Among Marvel's recognitions are Federal and Professional Businesswoman of the Year Award 1974, the Jonesboro Star Woman of the Year 1979, and the Honorary Doctorate from Rhodes University 1981. Lucy Murder died on October 30th, 2000 at age of 80. 13 years after her death, she was remembered at a Workers' Day celebration in May 2013 as a sterling leader by the government minister, Miss Ellen Sishu, for her sacrifice and devotion to duty and struggle. And that's it, y'all. This is probably a little bit longer than usual. Oh, it's around the same time. But anyway, hugs and loves. I will see y'all next ones. God bless. Take care. Positive energy. Positive vibes. Okay. We got one more podcast, whatever, before we lose an hour of sleep, basically. Okay. But anyway, y'all take care, and see y'all this weekend.